start with a cough. Because I just ate a bunch of cereal or something. Hello, hello everybody. It's time for another art stream. I am today working on some more Eldritchrune finally. Well, not finally. I've been doing that before. But now this is finally the next one as opposed to stuff from the ending. Which is a nice change of pace. I really hope I can get this one done this week, or at least by next week or whatever. I guess we'll find out. The only way to do it is to keep at it, which is what we're going to do. I'm now doing, yeah, good grief, I need to actually be able to reach my keyboard, who would have guessed? We are doing clean lines, the fun part, at least the fun part for me. Hello, hello, thank you for coming. Finally see some more Caddy and Jockington, yay! Went to the library, not by choice in this case. I do hope we actually get to see them in future Dark World. It really does seem like they should show up at some point. I feel the hints be there. Let that amount to something or other. She doesn't need no magic books. She learns magic by eating people. He's like, I don't need a book, I just need a human to nom upon. That sign won't stop me because I can't read. I don't know if they can read actually. Joggington probably can't. There might be some spells in them, but that's way too many books to look through. This is like a maze of books. Too many. Too many. And again, they don't learn through. They don't have book learning here. Not for Caddy and Jockington anyway. I just want them to be in the next actual Dark World. As he was lucky to find. Well, he was looking for something in particular and he didn't find it, but he did find something else relevant, even if he didn't know it. I need to do another scene with Azrael, actually. Like, a lot of the exposition stuff ends up with him. But, I do think I have some ideas, at least, for what can happen with Azrael, and I need to do that at some point. Get back to whatever he's up to. Because that's also important. I think I might finally get him into some real trouble. He has some bad things happen to him too. Lurking is fine. I lurk on streams myself too. I like to have them on while I draw, so you can have this on while you draw, and we'll draw together, even if we're not in the same room. Just because it's nice to do that. With the music going. My weird little goal is I want 2,000 songs on my remix playlist by the time Deltarune's completely done. Hopefully I can manage that. I'm sure there's got to be at least 2,000 songs that, exist and I like enough for that. I think I'm at like 1,200 or so right now. Some of them have also vanished, which is not helpful. That's the internet for you. That's the internet for you. Oh, for a second I was on the wrong layer and I was like, ooh! But no. Well, luckily, I was paying close enough attention. For now. Oh. Include any fan games and AU individual songs in there. I do occasionally, if I like it. Like, I think there's some, there are some Undertale Yellow ones in there. I probably should grab a few more. And, good grief, what else? Like, I've included stuff like, Alfie's Takes Action, and, some of the other, I don't know, like, Ink and Error ones or whatever, because those are good. So, occasionally. They're not the brunt of it. Most of it's Undertale and Deltarune, but I do have occasionally, some AU or individual. Like, I do include usually, like, Megalo Strikes Back in playlists, even though that's technically not an Undertale song. Stuff like that. There's a lot of those out there. I don't include most of them, but I do include some. I'm like, oh, I should do that. I should find a few more Undertale Yellow ones, though. There's a couple in there. Because those are also really good. And people usually produce really good musics. Definitely right now I'm trying to collect some songs from 3 and 4 for obvious, or chapters 3 and 4 for obvious reasons. Hello, thank you for coming. You know what I've noticed? Not a lot of people remix a Dark Zone. I don't see that one hardly at all. I'm like, where's all the Dark Zone remixes? Are you saving them for Halloween? What are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Oh yes. Looked like a good orchestral remix of stuff. I just gotta save that, or like message me on like a Tumblr or something, if I can add it to my list. I'm afraid it'll get lost on Twitch. What are some other ones that I'm like, please, more remixes of this? And of course, like from now on. Mostly what I see people remixing is Black Knife, which, you know, very good. And also Hammer of Justice, which, again, very good. Hello, thank you for coming. Alright, thank you. Yeah, I'm just afraid I will miss this and it'll get lost in the shuffle. How could you? Burbly! Here he is, just being his usual burbly self. Yelling. Fluffy pancakes. Ooh, that sounds good. I haven't had pancakes in a long time. Problem is I don't have anything here at home to make pancakes with. At least I don't have like a pancake grid or girdle or whatever. And that would take up quite a bit of space. My kitchen's very small. Don't have anywhere to put things. Ask her a message. Either one's fine. I will look at it either way. Either's fine. That looks a little weird here. I don't know. It's just like, where'd you go? Like both waffles and pancakes. I don't have a toaster either. I don't have room for things in my tiny kitchen. Oh, I'm sorry. Art block's no fun. There are various ways to help deal with the art blocks, depending on what you're feeling blocked about. Punch the art block like Mario. Usually my I don't know if I'm the best for this because I always have so much to do that I never get art block. But usually what I would suggest is that if you really want to draw but are stuck, one, take a step back from drawing for a bit and kind of refill that well. Go look up some art, media, whatever, that you can use as inspiration. And particularly, I would say, look at things that you don't normally look at. Like something that you might not actually like, but, you know, is interesting. Like, you know, if normally you watch TV shows, look at a book or some actual paintings or architecture or something. Like something different than what you normally do. That can help. And also, it can help to try things in a different medium. If you normally, you know, use pencil or colored pencil, whatever, try some pastel, try some ink or sculpture. Get some Sculpey and just like play around with it and stuff. It's important to try and like remember, oh, discovery is fun. And then you don't have to worry so much about, oh, does this look right? Meh. Like, who cares? You're just, you know, exploring and having fun. Shake off the routine and try and look at something new, and that usually helps clear up block. To just play with things. It's advice I should be taking myself. I'm very bad at taking my own advice because I am super set in my ways of what I draw, which I know is not the best. I should also play around with new stuff. But I'm just so swamped with projects I want to do, I have not had a block problem. I'll have problems where I'm like, oh, today's a bad drawing day, I don't really like what I'm doing. But with my job, I usually just like, well, I can't stop, I have to power through it, so that's what I do. Like when you have art as your job, you can't really have a, you know, art block day. It's like, I have to do it anyway, so I'm gonna do it. Or else he's shouting, because they fell down the hole. Monster fell down the hole. You go, ah! Exactly. There was a big hole and they fell down. It's just like 127 hours. Don't move. How old is Rouse? Good question. He's an immortal demon, so good luck figuring that out. He's been around for a while. Yo! He's screaming to the void. I'm fine. I'm old. He won't act like it. He's not that old. Yes, how old is he? Unknown. And we will probably never know. Time is meaningless. Whatever, maybe. I don't know. Could be. He looks fluffy for his age. Or smoky. He looks flamey for his age. Probably presents older, at least, than Canon Ralsei, who, by all intents and purposes, is like the same age as Chris and Susie, I'd say. Yep, he's pretty lonely. So he has been alone for a long time. No, I don't think Ralsei's a goner. Unless you mean like, oh no, he's doomed by the narrative. Yeah, but I don't think he's like a goner in terms of like, I'm going to turn into a gray person that talks about how weird Gaster is kind of thing. I don't think that's the case. Have you heard the good news about Gaster? He's going, gone. Let's see. There's also Papyrus's left brain. Yeah, that's a little bit creepy, I'm not gonna lie. It's a little bit weird. Never quite been the biggest fan of that idea. That's a little creepy. Chris is like, ah, I'm falling off the lizard. And there's still a bit of a mystery as to what the heck is Ralsei's deal. I see. I see. We'll say probably the biggest issue I've had with drawing this comic is just like the scale between Chris and the rest of the cast. They are so small, and then all the rest, everybody else is like large. So in order to like, you know, potentially fit everybody on screen, they have to be super small. Which makes drawing them a little bit crazy sometimes. You're too small. I want a Jackenstein plush. You're too cute. I still have no clue what I would do for Jackenstein for this AU. Something cool, but I don't know what it would be. Who knows? It's a mystery. I'm still leaning towards the headband, but he was gonna tell us, and then Susie cut him off. I'm like, Susie, can you wait until he finishes that bit at least? Do you have to cut him off there? Oh, fine. Yeah. Wrong button. No peeking. No telling. No, that would be telling. No, thank you. Yeah, I don't think it's diary entries, even though that was a fun idea to work with. And then you can make all kinds of fluffy princes. With all kinds of personalities. Turn off Can I turn off backgrounds for some of this? Because it's a little easier to see without it sometimes. Yeah, that one would have to end up in a dark world. And instead, Asriel himself just came home. Can I turn on that one thing again? Hold on, I don't know. I guess it doesn't really matter. This looks weird all of a sudden. I hope so. I think it'd be neat if we got a Rouse boss battle. Maybe he can get some kind of offensive magic as well, because right now he pretty much only uses healing pacify magic. It'd be cool if he branched out a bit. I'm not sure what kind of a boss battle he would have, though, to get him to, you know, open up a little bit. There's our Rude Buster, exactly. Something. I know he originally was kind of looked like he might have some kind of fire magic, at least if the thing on his shirt was any indication, but we're not sure if that's gonna still hold true or not. I guess it would be appropriate, especially since, like, Noelle's the other kind of designated healer, and she has ice magic as well as the healing magic. He gets Impolite Buster. I don't know if I can be full rude. I can just be, you know, a little impolite. Meanie Buster. Yeah, I did have Noelle's abilities be a little different in Paper Trail. I was kind of thinking, okay, if she's part of the, you know, the main group, it's a four-person party. You know, what skills can she offer if she's, you know, if we've already got healing covered. And I was like, oh, we can do, like, assist magic. Where she changes what the bullets are doing. That was fun for that, at least. That was appropriate enough. On my last file with Chapter 4, I went back and specifically, one, I did a bunch of grinding against enemies to try and get enough money to get the Gold Widow armor, because I'd spent too much money other places, so I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna, you know, try and get this piece of armor, so I'm gonna grind out some enemies for money. And in that instance, I tried to use Susie's healing magic as much as I could. I'm not sure how much of a difference it would make, but at least on one file, I actually tried to go out of my way to make sure that she healed a bunch. I think there's like a limit to it. Like, I think it's still like 75% TP in order for her to heal. I don't recall. Or is it 70? I don't remember. Or you can dump all your points into the cactus sword. Wait, how do you dump points into the cactus sword? I didn't know there was a thing about that. Total 15 used across chapters 3 and 4 for full Susie potential heal. Okay. I'm pretty sure I've used it at least 15 times then. Especially at least, you know, having to fight Garrison. Used it a couple times there. Shop. There's so many vending machines. I always lose track of which one does which. Regular dark dollars. Okay. I know towards the end I was trying to like embezzle the missiles a whole lot. Yeah, I remember getting like it's like the Saber 10 is the sword you get from the cactus. Yeah, the cactus is hiding behind the curtain, and so it gives you the Saber 10. I remember that. But I didn't remember if you could do anything else with the Saber 10. Except that it's, you know, it's a decent weapon. I'm pretty sure I had it equipped to them until I got Black Shard, but... I didn't know there was anything about grinding for money for that. That just kind of happened once I was in the S rank room and, you know, play with the curtain, and then it's like, oh, there it is. Wait, as in like, so it's kind of like a farming thing where you can just buy the Saber 10 from, or you can like get the Saber 10 from the cactus and then sell it, and it will just give you a new one every time. Is that how it works? Like it'll just keep giving you Saber 10s? Who could this be? You could have bought the Toxic Axe and other equipment. Oh, you can buy Saber 10? It runs off points since you can access it from the green room, yeah. When you're done with points, okay. And then that turn you just buy a bunch of Saber 10s. Okay. Okay. I would have to investigate more into that, because I do like me a good infinite money glitch. Yeah. That would be interesting if, yeah, you use it to basically, like... Although the issue is like, if it's to level up one weapon, why do you use the Thorn Ring to make the Twisted Sword? Unless maybe the Twisted Sword is supposed to go to Noelle, not Chris. Since we know she can use some swords. So, like, is the Twisted Sword supposed to... If, following that logic, is the Twisted Sword supposed to be a Noelle weapon, not a Chris weapon? Which is weird, because Twisted Sword is trance down. When it seems like the whole thing we're doing with Noelle is trance up. It'll take a while. Hello, hello, thank you for coming. We are working some more still on this part. Okay, it's only programmed to go for Chris. But we know Black Shard and Jingle Sword can be used by Noelle. Which Jingle Sword makes sense. That's her pencil, but... It trans up. You will become more trans using this weapon. The estrogen sword. Yeah, I think Black Shard on Noelle is significant. Also, I would say more evidence that that Des is the knight. You know, if she can use the Black Shard as well, that's a little bit of a Des Knight point there. Plus, if you try and equip the mantle to Noelle, she's like, no, this is for someone, you know, ... taller. Kind of implies it's for her sister. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, things come off, so I think there's pretty sure there's a text box here. They have it hidden. Slay Dark on Black Shard becomes Slay Light. Wait, how does that work? Oh, you mean if the pure crystal inverts abilities is what you mean. I guess we'll see. Depends a whole lot on what the heck the pure crystal is supposed to do. All we know right now is that we need one more shadow crystal for it, and Shum seems to think we'll really like it. Anti-angel sword. This is the part where Chris comes out of the computer and kills you for real, in real life. That's what you get for doing the weird route. Yeah, we don't know what Justice Act's special stats are yet. Something. I'm sure it's going to come into play later. Right where we need it the most. Again, I almost kind of wish that fight with Garrison was mandatory. Like, it feels really important and kind of significant for Susie's character. And the plot as a whole. Does the Black Shard turn to a ring? Because the weird thing is the Black Shard is the same in both the Dark World and the Light World. Like, it's the same object. It even looks like, even though we use it as a sword, it looks different from our usual swords, which are pencils or pens. What that means, I don't know. Okay, now that we're done with this, I'm gonna do a stretch. Stretchy time. Stretchy time. Yeah, most of the other lessons get past her anyway. I just feel like there's some important stuff in that battle. Yeah, that's true. Because I did miss it the first time, and I still got the point of that, but I don't know, it just feels like there's some useful things in there, though, again, if it was not the secret boss, I don't know what you would do instead. Because I feel like if it was not the secret boss, you would have to make the battle a little bit easier, so that people who don't go the extra mile can still beat it. Yeah, I missed it too. I was so sad, but I was also like trying to get through everything as fast as I could. What kind of scarf would he get? Or I'll say scarves especially seem to be kind of all over the place because, like, okay, we know that swords are pencils or pens and Susie's axes are brushes, but Scars are just like various things for him. Flower themed scarf, maybe there's like vines involved in it. It's got little flowers growing out of it. Yeah, I know I didn't explore well enough. I didn't backtrack and get the stuff there. I just kind of, like, I recognized, oh, I need to find all the things in order to unlock this thing. I just didn't go looking well enough. I got too caught up in progressing the plot. Floral cowboy bath curtains. Oh boy. Oh, I should get the floral say shirt. I should get some more shirts just because some of my old Undertale Deltarune shirts are starting to fall apart. I've worn them too much. I need some new ones. I do. I am currently wearing the Susie one. I have my Susie shirt. And I will be sad if that one starts to fall apart. I'm like, no, my Susie shirt. But I like the Caddy and Brownie one I have is falling apart, so I need to get a replacement of something. Get Susie a shirt. Best girl. Yeah, the flower Ralsei one would be cute. That would be cute. I don't know, a lot of the shirts have like Spamton and stuff. I'm just not a big Spamton fan. Like, he's fine. I just don't really want him on a shirt. Yeah, that's the one I have. The Susie one with the axe raised. That's the cool one. She's cool. And then I've also got the Undyne shirt. That one's still holding together so far. Yeah, I have the Sham plushie on my thing. And I have the pin sets. I need to get the pin set for Chapter 3. Once that's available, add it to my pin board. Yeah, I have the little buddy ones from Undertale. I need to get the little, sword hero, scarf hero, those things, and all that. And I will be right back for one more stretch. Return. We're back for another page. Oh man, if I could get any plush I wanted, I want like a giant Eldritchrune Susie plush, like a big huggable one, and it could have like a little pocket on the inside so you could put stuff in her mouth. But that, I feel like, would be very hard to do. Well, they do have the Rousey plush. You can get a Rousey plush. I should get that too. I don't have a Rousey plush. His greed sickens me. You can get so many outfits for him. Dress him up as Rockstar. Dress him up as Horse. Dress him up as Butler. And Nurse. Also doesn't really get much in the way of new costumes in Chapter 4, except for, I guess, like, Susie's Sanctuary. Slightly different colors. We changed things on the color spectrum here slightly. You're still wearing the same outfit, though. Or you can get hatted Rousey, where he's got the black fur. There are many Rousey options for plush. You've turned him into a marketable plushie. I love how it even, like, mentions it, like, in the game itself, where if you do the right acts during Tenna's boss battle, Rousey just turns into his plush. Some connection with Gaster? Maybe? Kind of depends. Why me? It kind of depends on how related they are, because Rousey, at the very least, seems to know the full prophecy. He also is aware of the player. So, I guess the question is, where did he learn this information? He could have learned it from Gaster. That is a possibility. Please don't turn me into a marketable plushie! And we also don't know what Gaster's role is here. I'm inclined to go with device theory in that, like, he didn't make Deltarune, but he created the means through which we can interact and interface with it. The device layer, wherein, like, we are involved in, like, playing the game. Basically taking this world and turning it into something we can interact with. Yeah, I don't really know what to do with Friend. Or even how relevant Friend is going to be. Relevant in some way, but I'm not sure how. So much not known about Friend. Gaster made Toby Fox. What a twist! They are no friend of mine. You guys see pink and yellow and you think that's a friend! Hello, hello, thank you for coming. We are still working on this particular scene. You ain't nothing but a friend cat, yowling all the time. You ain't never caught a rabbit, and you ain't no friend of mine. They are friend shaped. Perhaps. They at least are friend named. interesting how people go kind of defaulted to, this is the evil thing that's in charge of everything. This thing, and I'm like, they mostly just stood around and watched how things happen and are like, huh, that's funny. Like, at most, you know, yeah, they're the enemy, one of the enemies in the ERAM battle, but they can also drop health for you after a certain point, so it's not an entirely adversarial situation. If not friend, why friend named? Again, I think the explanation I've liked the most so far is that friend is one of several fear manifestations. Fear coming about in different ways. I guess then the question is, okay, do we know for sure that friend is the one with the pointed tail? The tail of hell. Like, it's a bit of a long way to go with, like, okay, friend is associated with cat petters. Cat petters has creatures made of circles. The tail of hell is just made of circles for some reason. Fear of your friends all secretly hating you. That is a real fear, I'll say that. Ugh. Nope, they have something to do with cat petters. I really wish they would explain more of what's going on with cat petters, because in this universe, because at least, okay, we can see the connection between, you know, the prophecy to Lord of the Hammer to Dragon Blazers, which gets brought up a lot because Dragon Blazers is kind of how Deltarune talks about itself. But then what is cat petters, which is like a ripoff of an interpretation kind of thing? Like, Noel talks about, oh, you know, cat petters is, you know, not as good as Dragon Blazers kind of thing. Or at least cat petters the RPG. Should have warrior cats. Warrior cat petters. Like, cat petters has its own movie, I guess? So cat petters is its own franchise within the universe, but it seems like it's kind of an unsanctioned, completely off the rails franchise compared to Lord of the Hammer / Dragon Blazers. Well, Cat Petters, the original game, is based off of Pets, P-E-T-Z, where you did make pets out of circles. Like that's the primary association with it. Is that particular game where you are making pets out of circles. And there are, like, kind of weird breeding mechanics, and sometimes the pets look a little, like, off and stuff like that. Pretty sure there's text here. No, there's not. Not text there? Okay. I'm sure I'd fill that in then. Huh. Yeah, like those kind of those sim games, but it is specifically that particular game. But then there's also other stuff associated with, like, oh, there's an RPG associated with it. There's a movie associated with it. And I'm like, okay, that has gotten popular enough, is there, like, but there doesn't seem to be, like, a Dragon Blazers movie. Like, Cat Petter's got all this other merchandise and stuff, and branched out more, but not Dragon Blazers. Yeah, what Friends seems like to me is like a glitch born from Cat Petters and Noel's modded games kind of going out of control. But how that relates to the Tail of Hell, I don't know. Aside from being, okay, there's some association there between, you know, pointed tail. leading people astray. And cat petters, but what is the association? What does it mean? Like, I don't know, it's almost kind of like the cat petters is Dragon Blazer's weird root kind of thing. I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense. It's all the corrupted data of Noelle's pets. It's like, and then I wouldn't let them breed, and they just ran away, and I just, you know, I stopped the love wherever it could, and Noelle... Yeah, it corrupted all the time, and then she, like, basically, you know, whenever the pets would fall in love, we could breed a new pet. And she was so scared of, like, these weird, different pets breeding that, and crashing her game, that she, you know, would immediately stop them from falling in love with each other. And I'm sure that is going to have consequences for whatever is going on with cat petters. She just super involved with them game corruptions. It does work with that fear of the unknown kind of stuff going on. Okay. Okay. Text is there. I'm sure I know where that is. There's something interesting going on regarding Noelle and her ability to kind of like let her imagination absolutely run wild for better or worse. She has the power of imagination and anime on her side. In Eldritchrune, do you mean? Yes, they are. Like, you can kind of see, like, here's Caddy and Jockington. Here, Monster Kid hasn't joined the party. I don't know if I'm ever going to show them joining the party. Just assume at some point they were recruited. Like, I would kind of like to do a meeting Caddy and Jockington scene at some point, because I think I could do some interesting stuff with that, have some ideas for it. I don't know what I would do with Monster Kid. They're there, but how they got there might have to be left up to interpretation unless we get something really interesting in canon to work off of. Yeah, Monster Kid is there, just joins pretty late in the game. And no Snowy, I don't know what to do with Snowy. And it's gonna get too complicated. It's already a lot to keep track of with this many very large characters. So, stops with Monster Kid. Yeah, just at this point in time, Caddy and Jockington have joined. Monster Kid is not. Castale is just a snake in disguise, I'm telling you. I thought I was doing this, like, long ago. Y'all didn't listen. And I was like, oh, Caddy and Jockington could be really interesting. They'll be relevant. But he's like, she doesn't have a special talk thing. That's not important. And now all of a sudden it's like, well, actually, they're friend in disguise. And it's like, he's gonna turn into a goner. And I'm like, okay. Now you take it seriously. Okay, fine. I see how it is. Also, is that an old tweet? When did Timmy even say that? Will Jockington grow the beard in Eldritchrune? It'd be fun if I could figure out a way how to do it. I don't know how I would do it. Maybe it's a magic spell they can learn. This eat a really bearded guy, and the spell they get is, well, now Jockington can grow a beard. Useless spell, but neat. Maybe it's by funny coincidence. I don't know. I guess what I don't get is why people assume that the broken speech means he's going to turn into a goner. Because the goners don't have broken speech. They actually speak pretty eloquently. Where did this idea that, oh, the goners have broken speech comes from? Because it's not from the goners. The library bird is breaking. But we already know that the library bird is a goner. Conceptually bearded Ralse. It's interesting how we've extrapolated this rule of, okay, there's something weird going on with the library bird guy, and that means if Jockington speaks a little bit weirder than normal, even though he's spoken weird this whole time, that means Jockington is also a goner. Even though, again, broken speech is not really a thing with goners. They all speak pretty normally. If anything, like, his speech should be, like, the bird guy's speech should be improving because his goner self in Undertale has perfectly fine speech, whereas in Eldritchrune from the start he's always spoken a little bit weird. He, she, I don't know what their gender is. Just bird guy. Ah, that's how logic works. Has to, yeah, it can mean something. What that is, I don't know. Yeah, where's Onion? That's what I want to know. Where did Onion go? It's like, I'm going to investigate that song coming from this ocean, and then you never hear from him again. Where did he go? It's like a reverse Flowers for Algernon. Oh. Onion is dead. No. Hippopotamus, come back, Beauty. I wonder how many people named Onion Beauty. Yay! Asriel 2, also a good choice. Asriel comes back and he's like, you named that weird guy in the lake after me, Chris? Okay. Missed me that much, huh? Like, I can't help feel like when Asriel gets back, it's going to be weird, specifically between him and Susie, just because, like, Susie is kind of slotting into Asriel's space. Like, she's kind of becoming Chris's sibling. Toriel this close to just adopting Susie. Especially with stuff like, oh, you can just wear Asriel's church clothes. Oh, do you want to sleep in Asriel's bed? Yeah, why are they just living in the lake? Have they always been there? They must have come from the ocean because they remembered something from the ocean. How did they get there? Someone leave them there in the lake? Where's our deep onion lore? We must investigate the many layers of onion. Get it? 'Cause onion. We must peel back the layers of Onion's backstory. That's a good amount of words. That's many a word. I feel like there's gotta be other monsters that are fully aquatic. At the very least, in Undertale, Onion talks about, oh, you know, all my friends live in a fancy aquarium. So there's gotta be some monsters that are confined to the waters. I don't know how many that is. How often do they come to the surface for stuff? Yeah, that's another thing. The diner is very much something that Chris used to do with Asriel. Oh, sheesh, an underwater area would be interesting. Yeah, that would be a lot to do. And that is cool. More canon, or more fanon aquatic monsters. At best, we also got Undyne, but like she can breathe on land just fine, so she doesn't really count. Point. I'm gonna turn off Susie's layer so I can see what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm horribly sorry, cruisy shippers. I just get the feeling that the role that Susie is coming into is more of a sibling one than a romantic one. What's worse, water levels or ice levels? Like they match each other's freak for freak. Yeah, they just gotta keep hanging out. Water and desert. Ice physics. It depends on how the ice goes, because usually ice physics are like, and then you good luck gaining traction here. Slippity slippity slide. Slippity sliding away. Could do an ice themed Dark World. We just don't have much time for them anymore. If you can go very fast on it, and if you can control it. That scary eel in Mario, yeah. Like on the one hand, oh, you could go fast in an ice level. On the other hand, I'm thinking of Okami, where it's like, okay, good luck getting traction. You can't really control. You can, you know, your speed and your trajectory are a lot harder to get the hang of. Or like Pokemon, where it's like, have you stepped on ice in this direction? Well, that's the direction you are going until the ice stops. Slippy slidey puzzle. Point. Susie, destroy. Susie, go kill that guy. On it, boss. You gotta be sleeping with the fishes, boss. These guys bothering the boss? Which one? Take your pick. Hooray, pancakes! An Eldritch Susie Rude Buster? No. Unless you count breathing fire as Rude Buster, but it's not probably the same. And she also definitely cannot use OK Heal. because she can't wield the weapon, so harder to do Rude Buster. Why didn't Rousey teach her? He can't heal either. Nobody can heal. Ain't nobody got heal spells. Oh, nice! Hooray! What I've been doing is, because I really struggle to find the time to read, but I often have to do things like, you know, chores and laundry. I've gotten, okay, we have to do this again. I've gotten audiobooks from my library, and then I listen to those while I do my chores, so I can get at least a little bit of reading in. Although it's listening, but at least it's me being exposed to a book. Ain't no holy power for heal prayer, at least not here. I'm worried he can just pill bug up and it'll be fine. Yeah, it'd probably be a lot more preferable for Chris if healing spells existed, because pretty much any time they're like suffer really terrible injuries or whatever, it's like, well, now I gotta like die quickly in order to get back on my feet. Exactly, that's the problem. That's their only means of getting back, of healing, is like pretty much dying and then coming back from the dead. So if you're severely injured but not dead, then Chris is like, well, now I gotta skip past the being injured part and get to the dead part so that I can be unhurt. Susie's like, I'll help with that. Magic systems. Oh shoot. I hate when that happens. Necromancy, late healing, true. Necromancy is just healing with extra steps. Get that, Grandpa. Oh! The extra step of dying, true. I don't know if they're still related in this AU or not. I'm leaving that kind of ambiguous, I think. I don't know that will ever be touched upon. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. It's not going to be really discussed. I'm mostly just happy that I somehow got, like, Garrison and Alvin's relationship correct with the comic I did a while ago, in like 2024. I'm like, oh, I'm glad I got that one right. Even if Garrison Knight was not correct. That's okay, because Death was pretty much my second choice for Knight, so I'm happy with things as they have developed. Oh man, like, I was mostly glad, okay, I'm glad that Chris isn't the Knight. And yet now with Elf, people be like, but what if Chris was still the knight? And I'm like, no. Susie gonna chomp the old guy. She's stomping. I don't know. People seem really set on Chris Knight. I think that's also where the what if Chris was the rook? Surprise, Chris is the bishop. Chess theory real after all. Get in my body. They're the wrong. They're the silent night. Holy night, all is calm, all is bright. What if Chris was C-Round? What if Chris was actually from Backgammon? Chris like, you fools, I'm actually Orr from Settlers of Catan. Oh, that's a pretty good Christmas song. What if Chris was in your house trying to kill you? True. Yeah, pretty much. I'm like, guys, come on. It's time to move on. We are past that point. And we've still got interesting stuff to talk about regarding Chris, because Chris is clearly at least part of the Knight conspiracy. What does that mean? What will happen with them? You don't have to make him the Knight to be like, okay, there's interesting stuff going on there. What if Chris was from Go? True. What if Chris was a tile from Mahjong? I know, that's pretty funny in retrospect. I'm like, y'all, don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself. You're setting yourself up for disappointment. Can't do that. Like, I do still want half-human Susie. I think there's actually a better chance now it can happen, but I cannot say for sure, yes, this will definitely happen. Because it's just going to set myself up for disappointment if it doesn't happen. You can't do that to yourself. You don't know for sure. You'd be like, I think this would be cool if it happened, and I happen to guess it, but the chances are still too high that you are just wrong, or at least not fully correct. And we pop in the biggest bottles when McCore becomes canon. Triple truces. I can see that. Chris is suspicious. I was pretty adamantly against them being the Knight. One, because I'm like, come on, guys, I'm really frustrated. Like, oh, this is definitely the case. And two, there was something that always bothered me. Yeah, you have to be prepared to be wrong. You have to be prepared to be wrong. Otherwise, you're just setting yourself up for disappointment. Suspicious. I'll be honest, the thing that always got me... Yeah, they are not the Roaring Knight. The thing that always got me with it was the mention that Toby said of, oh, I was originally going to have this opener, you know, where all this cool stuff would happen, like, you know, a game opener, and then towards the end, all of the fun gang would be running up these stairs, and then the Knight, you'd see all the silhouettes of the bosses, and then the Knight would be at the top of the stairs and look down at the fun gang. And people were, and usually Chris Knighters in response to that were like, well, this could just be an anime thing, and it's actually Chris looking down from the stairs. And I'm sitting here going, no, that is not how you would visually depict that idea. I was just really staunch on that, because that's my job, is to visually depict certain ideas. I'm like, if Chris was the Knight, that is not how you would visually show that. You would show that in a different way. And I couldn't really explain that to anybody, because that sounds kind of wild. But I'm like, no, the visuals mean things, and that's not how it would. That's not how you would do it. Like, I could even picture in my head, I'm like, okay, if I was doing this kind of opening and Chris was the knight, how would I do it? I would do it this way. Like, this is the visual way you could show that Chris being the knight, but like still a secret from, the rest of the characters. And it's not the way that Toby described. And that was correct. So, I know that's kind of being a little bit, I gotta do my stretches. It's being a little, maybe a little pedantic. But I'm glad I was right. I'm glad my instincts were right on that. I'm like, no, it's not Chris, because that wouldn't work in this scenario, and that's true. Yeah, and again, there's plenty going on with Chris without them having to be the knight. Yeah, that is the thing. I'm a little sad that we didn't get actual Kaiju Susie. I wanted that. I was kind of expecting that, and I'm kind of wondering if maybe that will still get shown up in some way. Not her as a Kaiju, but, proper dragon in some way. There's still some things left, untackled with that, I feel like. So I was a little sad that, she was just in a costume, even though that was very cute. I did like her little cute costume. I'm just like, no, she should get to be an actual Kaiju. There's still time. We might be able to get that in a different context. Again, probably not as Kaiju, because that would be the best context for that, but, let her be a proper dragon at least. Alright, it is fierce, true. Yeah, I figured if that did happen, it would be some kind of, like, movie magic thing. But clearly the budget was not there for that. The budget was there for cute costume and stringing her up from a rope. So, sadly we could not do that. I guess that does make sense in context. But again, we might still have a chance. Probably not for Kaiju Susie. I don't think that would happen. But proper dragon Susie. That is an opportunity I think could still be happening, at least towards the end of the game. And even not just like proper dragon, like not an actual like dragon, but like, I don't know, get her some wings and cool horns and a longer tail kind of thing, but otherwise, still bipedal. Something like that. I mean, they can change the look, but that seems to be like also a factor of who makes the world, since their colors change slightly when Susie is the one making the world. Yeah, it does change the clothes. You can wear different costumes. You can wear whatever you want. Oh, jeez. I'm not sure how well I could be able to handle that. Like, some of us aren't very good at making fan games. Be like little Mario Maker. And even not just blue, they have like a bright cyan kind of skin. Tell you what, I kind of prefer drawing their dark world form, because whenever I try to color their light world form, I'm like, why are they Simpsons yellow? Well, people don't have this skin color. Exactly. That's where we get Dragon Susie, is when she gets the soul. Alright, be right back. I need one more stretch and orange juice and stuff. All that stuff. Yelfies! Just looking out the window. with my orange juice. Oh, you're right, it is symptoms yellow. Correct. That's correct. Oh. Let's see what we can do. Made of real orange cats. Garfield, no! I got it from Garfield Eats. Uh-oh. How's that again? When's Garfield gonna show up in Deltarune? We were promised Garfield! How much different would their adventure have been if there had been a Garfield poster? We have like black cats like Friend and white cats like Caddy and purple cats and we see some orange cats. We'll have all the Halloween colors. Halloween's is cats. Yeah, I can totally see a situation where we get real Dragon Susie if she gets the soul somehow. Which feels like they're set up for that. It feels hinted at. Heathcliff. Oh, okay. The other orange cat. That is just not as popular as Garfield because he wasn't marketed as aggressively. Also, whenever you read a Heathcliff comic, it's like, what is actually happening in these? Heathcliff comics are so weird. Like, Heathcliff's like being abducted by aliens. It's like, oh, it must be Thursday. Thursday abduction. And you're like, what is going on in the world of Heathcliff? And I'm pretty sure Heathcliff was precedes Garfield by at least a little bit. I need to find that one. That's one of my favorite MST3K skits where they invent a little machine called the Cartooner. So they're like, man, you know, Sunday funnies aren't funny anymore. It'll be funny if we just, like, you know, mash them together and find out what happens. And they're like, aha, we'll put together, you know, the Lockhorns and Kathy. And Mrs. Lockhorn just crashed her car into the store where Kathy's trying on a swimsuit. It's hilarious. We combined the far side of the family circus. Oh, it's so funny. There's a dotted line showing where anthropomorphic jackals have chased little Billy. Good sketch. I'm probably saying it wrong. Anybody remember what Ziggy was about? I remember seeing that comic a lot, and I'm like, what was that even about? Like, it's about the weird bald guy named Ziggy, but like, What did he do? What was the joke involved with Ziggy? I honestly can't remember. Big hammer, too many spikes on it. Ah. Garrison looking up her like, oh yeah, you need some dental work, Miss Lady. Oh yeah. You've got a big cavity right there. Well, this one's gonna fall out if you're not careful. I don't know why I'm giving him like a Midwest Canadian accent. Because why not? True. Her teeth just work best from inside her mouth. Kind of useless outside the mouth. Use the tooth to beat a crap out of a man. Susie, this is why it's important to brush. Wizard that control their teeth outside their mouth. What a creepy wizard. That's a cool idea. You better make it like a fae creature, so it's the Tooth Fairy. Like, oh, are we supposed to be scared of the Tooth Fairy? And then the Tooth Fairy does that. And remember all those nightmares about your teeth falling out? Well, now it's real. Too much Caesar salad. I don't know, I feel like Caesar salad would be one of the more normal foods. It's not gonna mess you up that much. Would be a cool idea, though. I think that was in an Ursula Vernon book. One of the Ursula Vernon books I read, there's like a character called the Tooth Dancer. And it can dance your teeth right out of your mouth. It is appropriately creepy. But that's Ursula Vernon for you. Appropriately creepy and fun. Not for the person losing their teeth, though. Pump position special lines. I don't know anything about it. What's better there? Chris like, what'd you do to my giant killer dragon? I've gotten so used to drawing Eldritchrune Chris's hair this way. Like, when I go back and draw, like, regular Chris, I have to, like, something like, no, they have different hair in canon. I can't draw the, like, totally wild bush stuff I've got going on with Eldritchrune. Tone it down. No, you can't make their armor more elaborate. They have very basic armor in canon. Well, I do like when people draw them with, like, very fancy armor. It's fancy. Super fancy. Garrison, like, calm on down. I'm pretty sure I've drawn his armor wrong a bunch, but that's what happens when I don't get to draw him very much. Oh well. Well, the idea still comes across. No such thing as too old for Garrison, because I'm old. I love how that one is what's taken off as a meme. People just using the I'm old. She sits so nicely. Sit, stay, good eldritch monster. In this case, he might be a little bit too old. At least for what he wants. Running straight lines with this brush is always harder. And I don't want to switch brushes. That will take too long. I'm glad I don't have to draw this dumb hammer anymore because it takes forever. He barely gets to use it. Well, he's probably used it elsewhere. Probably elsewhere. Page around 6. Ugh, this is going to be 18 pages long, so still quite a bit left to go. I gotta work on Anthofractal tomorrow because I haven't had a chance to do that yet. Can't work on it early if I don't know what the winner is. It's like, huh? I'm glad we got to see Garrison be awesome in Deltarune. We didn't get much of him in Undertale. But then he gets to be awesome here. He's the coolest grandpa. Strangely inappropriate music because Versus Susie is now sit nicely. I do hope we get like another take on Versus Susie in the future. In a future chapter, please give us more of this song and make it cool. Make it cool. Well, it's already cool. Make it cooler. But not water cooler. That could be dangerous. Out of context, Susie. Huh? Oh boy. Phase 1, battle against a true hero for Phase 2. Baby Rosa. Yeah, like it would have to be remixed into something else. I want the tune to be remixed into something bigger. We just haven't done much with Susie's theme aside from chapter 1 there. Do you need to say what phase 3 would be? Acts of justice. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a different kind of, you know, final Susie fight in the weird route, just because we can't keep her locked out of that forever, dude. Something bad's gonna happen there. I would have the cutest baby pictures. I feel like it would have to be Ralsei. He's already an adorable and marketable plushie. He's just made to be adorable. You can't resist his cuteness. And the true injustice is because he was never a baby, we are deprived of baby pictures of him. Yeah, where are Susie's baby pictures? I want to see her as a little scrungly. He probably does not have many of those at all. You know, scrungly with big puff of hair. Who knows what baby Chris looked like? Ooh. Probably depends on when they were adopted, but I'm pretty sure they were adopted around, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 or something when they were a little kid. When they were a wee little kid. Yeah, I've seen that meme image. Bald baby Chris with demon eyes. Look how cute they are. Everybody's like, uh-huh. Has Chris always had red eyes, or is that a new feature? I like how, like, even with the bold baby meme pictures, like, they still have, like, the shadow of their face hidden by hair that isn't there. How are they doing that without the hair? Don't ask that. Yeah, I would like to know a little bit more about that. Yes, I do have a blue sky. That's probably my primary, like, well, aside from Tumblr, that's what I use primarily, because I abandoned Twitter. I'm like, I can't do Twitter anymore. So, Blue Sky I do have, same name as everywhere. Yeah, I don't want none of that last Thursdayism. Again, I think we've steered away from last Thursdayism just by learning, oh, yes, Darkners have a history, they just remember things as Lightner objects. Well, you can ask for renew your password and put in a new one if you need to. It's doable. If you know what email you signed up with. Yeah. And again, yeah, I guess some ideas people are just not gonna let go of. I'm not particularly fond of the idea that, oh, all of the light world is also a simulation. Like, and Gaster created the whole world and the game. It's all Gaster's creation. None of this is real. You fool. How dare you. Look at what happens when you get attached to characters. They were also never real. They were also darkeners in your mind. Like, we got the point already. We don't need it, like, we don't need to double up on that idea. Nice, nice. We already understand that there is a difference between these layers of reality. I don't think that, like, the oh haha this thing, yeah, too much is bad. Oh, this thing you thought was real, it was not real all along. Like, we already know that, or else they talked about it. Same reason why I'm like, I do not really like the idea of, oh, they're actually in a time loop sort of thing. Because I'm like, one, we already did that with Undertale. The characters are stuck in a time loop there and they act like it. And two, like, this doesn't add anything. We already know that, you know, things involving choices make a difference here. Yeah, time loop I do not get. It seems to be born out of this idea that, like, we can't possibly know what's going to happen unless it's already happened. Even though the whole point of the prophecy is that, like, this is something that we predict is going to happen that hasn't happened yet. Like, when you look at, like, biblical prophecies and all that stuff, they don't tell you that because it's already happened. They tell you this is what's going to happen unless something drastic changes. This is not set up as something that has already happened. It is set up as something that is going to happen and that there is dread around the fact that it's going to happen. And again, nobody else... Oops, did that wrong. The whole thing with time loop stories is that you kind of have to know you're in a time loop from the start, or at least from fairly early on, because the point of a time loop story is that you break the time loop. You are repeating these instances over and over again with the express purpose of finding out, okay, what is the thing I need to do correctly in order to get, you know, to free myself from this cycle. What am I doing wrong? What needs to be done right? And that's not how the story's been set up at all. This story's been set up of, oh, there is something inevitable that's going to happen. How are we going to deal with that? Are inevitable things truly inevitable? And if so, like, can we get a different meaning from this sort of thing? What seems to be important is the, you know, you can take what you're given, but you can still change something and make it different. That doesn't quite jive with a time loop. I'm getting this big hammer waved in your face. Oh shoot, I think I have to take another break. I think it's my break time. Wait, when did I... Ah, shoot, I don't remember when I stopped. I'll finish the hammer, then I'll take a break. Pay better attention to timing. Speaking of this song, here's something I think would be neat for future chapter. a proper Alphys boss battle. Because we didn't get that in canon. Like, if there's any, or at least not in canon, in Undertale. And at the very least, if we're going to continue this trend of, oh, let's give, you know, the fans the battles from Undertale that they never got, like with, you know, Garrison getting to do cool stuff, and, you know, us finally getting a proper fight with, you know, Mettaton Neo, even if it was actually Spamton Neo. Then, let's get a proper fight with Alphys. That would be interesting. She attacks us with the symptoms. The symptoms. Okay. And then I need to stop and take another stretch break. Whew. We're getting through the page as best we can. Oh, it's a little bit close to the edge there with the hammer. I don't know. Well, ugh. I do find it interesting that so many theories and stuff are centered around, like, oh, what does the last prophecy say? What's going to happen in the final prophecy kind of stuff? Oh, we got to figure out what that means. When Garrison himself is pretty much like, dude, you're not going to see where you're going if you focus on the prophecy so much. Let's go around this. Let's not focus on that. Yeah, we gotta see Ralsei's revamped room. We gotta send some couch cushions, and a ladder, and a weird ICE statue, or thing. And, whatever else. What else did we get him? I just remember the couch cushion and the ladder. Maybe we'll have to collect a lot of things, or steal a lot of things from Asgore's place. Did we get him a bed? What was the bed we got him? We got couch cushions, but oh no, because that was for like a blanket for it. Those are better fortified anyway. Chapter 5, Furniture Recruitment Mechanic. We just rob all the stuff from Asgore's place and be like, sorry, we need this for a different goat. One we love more. No. Asgore's barely got furniture as it is. Like, oh, Chris, you can have the bed. I'll sleep on that pile of soil? Asgore, sir. Also, dude's got to let go of his conspiracy board. He literally had customers being like, wow, he's closed. I was going to buy some flowers. Sir! What are you up to? I do like Chris with the mic room. He's like, I don't like these conspiracy boards. They mean bad things for me. Oh, welcome back. Oh, here we go. Here's Undertale Yellow Song. I know I had a few in this mix. I knew I did. Alright, be right back for one more stretch and stuff. turn. Excuse me, I'm back. Careful giving that knife to Susie now. Just accidental stab. Ooh. I've been watching through a Psycholturist playthrough of Undertale. Eventually get to the Eldritchrune one. That's been very fun so far. Because I was wrecked that not looking like, oh, this is fun. I'm enjoying these. These are very, very well thought out runs, and also incredible predictions. Also, why am I drawing this on the wrong layer? Incorrect. Get that hair in the right position. Should have realized that happened. The wrong layer. I need the wrong layer song. Give me the wrong layer song. The wrong layer song. I feel so stupid for getting it wrong. Another Rooter Buster. Look, can I speak to Elle? Exactly. Why are you trying to talk to Garrison, mysterious person on the phone? Why are you trying to do that? I just wanted to say hello. What's he doing? He's pointing his hammer at Chris. That's what he's doing. And Chris is like, this thing is very large and in my face. Susie is mostly just surprised because she got commanded. It's kind of like, huh? Question mark? Don't want tangents. None of that. Like, why am I sitting so nice? Yeah, again, I'm hoping to have this one done soonish. Or it took me a little while to do. It's just a long one. It's going to be another two-parter because it's 18 pages. At least it's mostly dialogue. Get rid of a Susie on that so we can see what we're doing. Questioning sounds like, who am I? Why am I? I had a brief glimpse of another world where I was just a weird teenager. Why did that seem more normal? You each chalk. Why would I eat chalk and not human souls? It doesn't make sense. I'm sure she'll eat chalk here as well. I'm telling you, the chalk's gonna end up being the white pen of hope. That's what it's gonna be. I'm hanging on to that light candy for as long as I can. Give her a whole buffet. Maybe things took a Eldritchrune right now. They both like moss. Not just Chris. Both Chris and Susie like moss. They're like, let's share it together. Both of them are weird little freaks that like to eat things they shouldn't. Susie especially. It's like, I'm going to perpetuate some cycles of existence. Dip the chalk in the moss like salsa. Isn't that kind of more like pesto than salsa? But she likes actual salsa too. Pesto dipped chalk. Exactly. They built up immunity. I like how Noelle's like, which flavor of chalk would she like? Wait. Does she like the regular ones or the big sidewalk pieces? I'm surprised I haven't seen more people be like pick up on the chalk thing. Like people like, oh, Susie has some kind of white pen of hope. Well, I guess it's like a whiteout pen. I'm like, no, you fools, it's chalk. The thing she was eating in the very first scene. That can draw on the ink. It was chalk all along. Guacamole. No, it's like pesto. Have you ever had pesto? Pesto's good. It probably looks the most like moss. It'd probably go a little better with chalk. I don't know. I don't know if anything goes well with chalk. Yeah, I like pesto. I used to have it a lot. Probably would have it more often, just a lot of oil. And I already know I have lots and lots of oil. But I like it. I like the chalk. I like the chalk. I like pesto. Dipsticks. Could be like that. Dip your chalk in the pixie sticks. Ripped pop rocks. You would have loved them, Susie. Like, heck yeah, it feels like my mouth is exploding. Do they sell dipsticks? I don't know. They don't really sell pop rocks anymore. That's too bad. Or else they would prefer standard candy. Regular old dark candy. Which in real life is apparently marshmallow stickers. Also, hate the fact that unless you have certain other things, Susie's like, oh, a mint. I'm gonna eat one of your Revive mints now. In church. Susie, not my mints. Those are hard to come by. And again, I guess mints are the kind of thing you would, would it change to Fun Dip? Mints are the kind of thing you would give kids at church. Keep them quiet because their mouth is busy with something. That's like my parents were always offering us gum during church. Because they would also have gum. Because again, it keeps your mouth busy so you're not doing something else. But I don't like gum very much. I'm not a gum person. I hate the fact that it loses flavor like really fast. It's like, okay, now I have this flavorless wad of stuff in my mouth. And I can't swallow it, so I'm just gonna chew on it, I guess. Ugh. I'll take a mint. I just don't want, like, a flavorless thing in my mouth for, like, 20 minutes. I do not understand people that are into gum. Not for me. Oh yeah, I would always draw on the pamphlets and stuff during church service as well. Yeah, I need some Willy Wonka Never-Ending Gum. Yeah, in church definitely I would draw on, like, little stuff. So when Toby described doing that, I was like, oh, samesies! I would also draw on random ideas on stuff during church, and that would keep me quiet. I think it got to the point where, like, our church realized, oh, kids really like to draw on the pamphlets. So they would, like, include a blank page where it's like, draw whatever you want, like, on the pamphlet. As opposed to, please don't draw all over, like, the stuff we actually typed. Here's your drawing page, kids. Maybe sometimes also a little activity stuff for really little kids, but, like, usually the really little kids are not doing the sermon anyway. They're going off to, like, you know, nursery school. So this is for kids that are old enough to, you know, sit through the sermon, but might still be a little bit restless and want to draw or something. Oh, got the hammer part up here. It is a time-honored Protestant kid tradition. Draw on the pamphlet. Draw a naughty thing on the pamphlet. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Let's see. It is extremely funny how, like, the hometown religion is, yeah, this is pretty much kind of Protestantism, but also not, because we don't believe in sin. We know what it is, though. Yeah, my church was not super big. Like, maybe 100, 150 people at most or something. Not a large affair, which I would prefer. Yeah, the incense stuff is Catholic. Also, not that many Protestant places have nice things like stained glass. That's much more Catholic. So a little bit of Protestant, a little bit of Catholic. Yep. And there's Unitarian. Hippie Christian. I don't know, maybe I'd do better in a Unitarian church. I've never tried one. Yeah, we had like, I don't know, some nice little tapestries or whatever, but those were added a long time after I'd gotten there. For the most part, church, very basic. Protestants do not do aesthetic well. Catholics worked out good aesthetics. Protestants are like, no, we're not going to do that. You do anything else instead? No. You got nothing. Like, at least do some nice aesthetics. A little bit. I don't know, maybe give it another couple hundred years or something. Maybe not, though. Either way, it is funny. I do wonder how, like, you know, Chris is sitting there, because they were definitely raised in this religion all their life. Susie was not. Where they're like, oh, dang it, this religion's Jesus. Yeah, that makes sense. And honestly, I'm cool with that, because I feel like one of the better points of going to church is the social aspect. You're there mostly to socialize with people who, like, feel the same way you do. And if there's not a social aspect, it tends to fall apart. That's a difficult thing to cultivate if you're just starting out too. He's agnostic without saying it in theaters this autumn. Don't really know or care what Toby's religion is now. That's his business. But he was definitely raised Protestant. New England Protestant. You can just tell. Plus he said he did this stuff in church. So whatever he's doing now could be anything. Not important. He was definitely raised New England Protestant as a kid. It's a you thing. Wait, you got sex ed from your church? They would never do that. I was just like, we're not going to talk about it. Figure it out yourself. That's not appropriate. Good grief. Even at, like, my public high school, we had to get permission slips that our parents had to sign so that we could learn about sex ed. And this was not like a conservative school or anything either. This was a liberal area. But nope, if you wanted to teach sex ed, you had to make sure you got the parents' permission. Why are you blooping at me, Photoshop? Stop that blooping. How dare you talk about sex ed in front of me, Photoshop? Mostly I just remember middle school sex ed. We were watching some videos or something, whatever, and, you know, the videos get to, like, you know, periods, and, you know, I don't remember what this education thing was, but it was like some girl, you know, finally finding out, you know, how periods work, and she's like, yay, Mom, guess what? I got my period. And our science teacher, this was in science class, who was a woman, was like, they are not that fun or nice. Just like, she would not react that way. She was honest, the video was not. Thank you, science teacher, whose name I forget. Oh yeah. Honestly, one of my childhood friends growing up, they wouldn't really let her watch PG-13 movies either. Oh, what was the Simpsons bit on it? There's been so much Simpsons, I might have seen it and forgotten. My brother would probably know better. No symptoms. Do, 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 do. Becoming a goner. If you make a typo, this means you're becoming a goner. It's like that stupid thing from Sherlock all over again. If you can't put a USB port plug into a USB port, it must mean you're drunk, and not that USBs are just really hard to plug in on their own. Sorry, I don't know why I went to that one. I haven't even seen Sherlock, I just know that scene by reputation. This person couldn't possibly have difficulty plugging a USB port in. They're so easy and intuitive. I don't know, some parents really picky about that. I remember, what was the first R-rated movie I was allowed to watch? Because for the most part, like, our parents did let us see some movies that maybe, you know, were a little above our age range when we were young. But no R-rated movies. I'm trying to remember, what was the first R-rated movie I saw? I can't remember it now. I know one of my first PG-13 movies was the X-Files movie. I think I was 13 at the time. But R-rated movie? I cannot recall what my first one was. Maybe my parents remember. I don't. Yeah, I just wasn't interested in that stuff anyway. I was interested in the X-Files movie because I was into X-Files, but I wasn't be like, oh, I'm gonna go sneak into, you know, this scary movie. I just didn't care. I was mostly still watching cartoons. I just didn't care that much. Hello, thank you for coming. Oh my gosh, I don't know why I'm seriously bothered by the fact that I can't remember my first R-rated movie. What was it? Annabelle? A half self-inflicted ban from looking at Shadow the Hedgehog because they cursed in it. Oh, that's really funny. I think my parents had a little bit of a regret moment because when I was growing up, you know, curse words included stuff like damn and hell. I just appreciate people being here. Like, we weren't allowed to say things like damn and hell. That was considered a curse word when I was a little kid. But I said it once and they were kind of like, where'd you hear that? And I'm like, from one of the movies we watched together, because they would say like hell or something, and my parents are kind of like, oh. Like, no excuse there because, like, you know, this is a movie that they enjoyed and they watched with the kids, and there was a little bit of dams and hells in there. It's a really good movie too. Like, we still quoted at each other. It's kind of like, well, that's the reality, I guess. Like, we didn't learn it from a thing. I learned it from watching you, Dad. We're watching this movie with you, which, you know, it was a good movie. I have to remember, I was growing up in, like, the 80s and 90s with, you know, Christian parents. Yeah, Melee and Brawl. I think it's just for cartoon violence, though. By the word but. Yeah, there were really innocuous words that I had to try and be careful not to say. And all the powers of beat. They still don't like it if they hear, you know, like a fucker shit out of me. Like, they're kind of like, oh, don't do that. Mostly my dad doesn't like that, but, you know, I'm an adult. I'm allowed to say what I want kind of thing. I try not to too much just because it's, you know, not necessarily a good habit to get into. But I do say it a lot more than I did when I was younger. My parents will sometimes use it too, or at least my mom will, but not very often at all. Again, my dad doesn't really like it. And I definitely wouldn't use that around, like, you know, my grandparents or my grandma or anything like that. That's, you know, not appropriate for them. They would not like that. I don't know. I feel like when you're an adult, you're allowed to say adult words. Like that's up to you to make that decision. The wonder, yeah, I don't know. What would be in Birth by Sleep that would have a teen thing? I wouldn't let you buy it. I like Susie sitting so polite. She listened. Yeah, sometimes I have to slap a rating on something for like one scene or one curse or whatever, and it's like, okay, it's not that bad. Yeah, exactly. I know. There was one time I let loose quite a few fucks in front of my mom because I got a phone call I was extremely unhappy with, and you know, I was trying to be polite on the phone about it as best I could. This is, you know, we didn't have cell phones at the time. This was on a landline phone, so I was trying to be as polite as I could about it. My mom was in the room, and then finally, when the call ended, I just let out a string of curses, and she was like, "Are you okay?" And I had to explain why I was so mad. It was for a good reason. But yeah, times change. I could not have gotten away with that when I was a kid. But yes, Susie is loafing. She is the loafer. She has been instructed to loaf. Go into loaf mode. Oh, see, those are the fun ones. Like, if you're gonna curse it, like, at least make it fun. You know, you can kind of turn, like, you know, it helps turn a bit of a curse into a bit of a laugh. You got, yeah, like shitload or fuckload. Combine curses for new, exciting curses. And then there's just, you know, the weird vocabulary being on Tumblr gets you. Or anybody who's been on Tumblr is like, you've been on Tumblr, haven't you? It's like, sorry, my vocabulary's permanently altered. It's just the reality of it. That's also what happened with Homestar Runner. Homestar Runner will permanently alter your vocabulary if you grew up with it. I still say things like cheap is free. I would say the Irish have the best curses. Irish have really good curses. Brits have some good ones too, though. Yeah, Yiddish, some good ones. Some languages just really lend themselves to cursing really well. Yeah, some good ones and some good Aussie ones too. Let's get creative with it. For me, as a made-up curse, I always liked fuck bucket. Just the combination of, alliteration there. I don't think I've ever seen Chobits. I was aware when it was coming out, but I never saw it. Chris having a bit of a crisis here. I did see quite a bit of Clont manga, though. I think one of the earliest anime manga I was introduced to was X 1999 by my friend in high school, and that was a hell of an introduction. Chris is not super okay, but then again, this is Eldritchrune Chris. They're rarely okay. The times they are okay are extremely few and far between. Give them hot chocolate. Please. Yeah, a lot of clamp stuff out there. Still debating if I want to eventually do what I think would be the scene prior to this scene with Garrison. Well, not immediately prior, but narratively prior, which would be fight with Miss Mizzle. And the problem with that is I think that would probably be one of the most, like, upsetting Chris deaths I've done so far. I'm like, do I want to do a scene that's mostly, like, deeply upsetting Chris deaths? I think I remember Triple X Holic from a long time ago. Like, on the other hand, it would be also a cool Susie-Chris friendship moment. Friendship! Dumb ways to die. So many dumb ways to die. Dumb ways to die. Oh yeah, this would be, like, I'm trying to think of, like, okay, what warnings would I have for this particular scene with Miss Mizzle? I think warnings would include drowning and water torture. So, a bit more than just being pulled under. Does anybody actually have a finished thing of Underfoe? I feel like it's gone through quite a few hands at least. Adds like, goodbye. I think there's text here. Yep. Very occasionally. Oh, I thought, okay, that's good. I thought they abandoned it. Because they got kind of overwhelmed with everybody, like, this AU is awesome, I'm going to do stuff with it. And then it kind of, like, escaped containment, as it were. Because that can happen sometimes. Alright, after this one, I'm going to take another break, then we'll do one more session. I'm going to have to scoot off. Make sure I scoot off in time because I have to be somewhere in about 2.5 hours, and I've got actually quite a bit to do before then. So I gotta be speedy. Yeah, it kind of exploded from the what if evil Toriel prompt. It's still being updated. Sheesh, padeesh. Alright, break time! Yeah, I guess not. Probably the same is also true for a underswap. Those are the two big, yeah, I guess concept ones. First swear at 5 or 6. Baby swears. just gets picked up by whoever feels like they want to do it. It's a hard thing to do for a long period of time. Oh, you know, that's fair, Blue Dino, that's totally fair. That's true, she was the first Underfell character, and then it all went to Sans. Sans got all the credit. Oh, it's true. Ugh. And then we barely see alternate Toriel's other places. Like, you see that, so you'll see her as part of, like, the whole cast. But most of these things are always centered around Sans. Various Sanses. This is really, really weird for me. Yeah. For better or worse. Okay, I see. This is a really weird nitpick for me, and it's totally me personally. Like, this is just a me problem. But I do not like it if I see alternate Sans and, like, he has normal expressions. Like, he doesn't have a smile. If they give him, like, a normal mouth, and he just kind of looks like a bald head with, like, normal human parts and, like, no nose, but otherwise he's just like a bald human, I'm like, that's not Sans anymore. I don't know who this is. It's vaguely Sans-esque, but it's not him if he doesn't have the permanent smile on his face. You gotta keep that element. Otherwise, you're just drawing bald white boy. Please, at least keep that one element, the permanent smile. And so it then ends with Sans. All roads lead to Sans. Well, they may or may not have. There are some people who are fans of AUs that are not Undertale fans, which I find fascinating. Uh-oh. Oh no! That's hilarious! Yeah. You need a really intense scenario for him to drop it, because even in the most intense scenarios in the game, he has a permanent smile. Like, you can have Papyrus's expression changes, because he does that, even though he always keeps, like, the skeleton jaw. But Sans never drops the smile. You have to put it all in the eyes. That's where the emotion comes out. I don't know. Some fans just really, really do that. I'm sure there's some people looking at Eldritchrune that's like, well, this is not really... Also, I think I might have forgotten to draw Susie's eye there. Let me check that. This has nothing to do with canon, and I'm like, well, try and connect it where I can. Definitely not following canon story. But, like, yeah, even with Sans here in Eldritchrune, I'm like, no, he has to have the permanent smile. He's a human being. He can even move his mouth, but no, I have to have that. Go off the walls. Stretch my wrist. Sheesh, it's a little bit cranky today. Alright, be right back for one more stretch. Ugh. Okay, I don't think anybody thinks that Nagito is the same. Tad too similar to the DR counterparts. Oh, no, don't dox people over, you know, differences in character. Like, come on, my guys. It ain't worth that. Alright, since I will do a little bit more, I do have to stop definitely by noon, because, again, I have to be somewhere in a couple hours. And, I gotta be ready for that. We'll do what we can. My hot takes? What kind of hot takes? What are we hot taking about? It's too hot for me to take. I'll have to wait till it's cold take. How did Spamton get that? Where did he get that? Why does he have it? Does not mention it in the normal route. Sir, where did you get that? He found it in the dump. I found a torture device in a dumpster. Just like a gun. He kind of does find it in the dump, or he kind of does mention it in the normal route. Does he mention the normal route? Use violence on he mentions you could have bought his commemorative. Oh, okay. That explains why I haven't seen it. I don't use the violences. Huh. Regular Spamton. Fan gamers like, new merch, buy Spamton's commemorative ring. No, please do not wear the commemorative ring. Well, not liking popular ships is a normal thing in a lot of fandoms. True. Spamton, you weird, weird little man. Weird little freak. With your tall tenna freak as well. Ah, oh, did that wrong. And again, I feel like most of the secret bosses, like violence, is the suboptimal route. Except for, you know, chapter 3 is an odd one out. You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity. Farewell. Jevil, I thought Jevil was kind of like, I don't know, at least from what I've heard, like, Jevil's tail was kind of a better item than Jevil's knife. Maybe it depends on what you're trying to do. Oh yeah, cheap Brood Buster, I guess that's helpful. Until we get Rooter Buster, or Red Buster. I have seen Arcane. I feel like I liked Kate Vi until like second season. Then it's kind of sad. I'm like, okay, this is neat, but it's a little awkward. I like that they were lesbians, but Justice Axe. know. I'm still mad about what happened with the twin ribbons. Why were they nerfed? Why were they nerfed to give me my massive grazing power? Oh, I do love Arcane. It looks like the production quality-wise, it looks incredible. But yeah, it could have been more fleshed out. I don't know how you have time with that because there's so many like characters and plot points to juggle in Arcane. Like you barely have breathing room for everybody. Twin Ribbon's overpowered. No, they underpowered it. Goodbye, Twin Ribbon. Farewell to you, Twin Ribbon. Yeah, that's the thing. Is there's just so many like storylines to juggle in Arcane. I'm not surprised it didn't get fleshed out that much. Arcane is dense. And even after watching like the second season, I'm still kind of like, I feel a little lost on some things that happened, but okay. Well, see, I liked Echo a lot in Arcane. I'm glad he got to do a little more stuff. He was cool, and I liked his aesthetic. Yeah. I feel like at least with Owl House, they did their absolute best with the restrictions they were given. Same thing with Steven Universe, honestly. Steven Universe could have done a lot more, but they were also kind of cut short. Ain't that always the way? But for both those shows, for the time that they were given, I think they did as well as they possibly could. Mostly the shame is like, I wish they'd been given more time. Wait, Netflix cut Arcane's writer's room in half? Oh, good grief. That probably explains it. Everyone but Chris Children? He's gesturing to the books. I just have the background turned off so I can see what I'm doing. Because the background is like a lot. a lot. It's a lot of books. You're in the book maze. Can you escape my book maze, children? Fall will be here soon. Yep, as somebody who works in the industry, 90% of the time, if you don't like something that's happened creatively in a piece of media, it's because some stupid executive wanted it that way. I guarantee, not all the time, but most of the time. The vast majority of the time. And it's usually for like completely arbitrary reasons. I still remember that with the My Little Pony movie, if nothing else. I wish I could show some of the very, very, very cool early concept stuff we did with some of the characters in the My Little Pony movie. Some of the characters were going to look and act a lot darker than what we ended up with. It was pretty neat. There were some cool character designs. I think some of these maybe are these in the art book. I can't remember. Like, am I allowed to say what the concepts were? Were those released in the art book? I can't recall. I'd have to look it up. Oh, I think whatever happened with Wish was a giant mess. That one was definitely executive meddling. I guess I should still watch it sometime, but even like looking at it, I'm like, this movie looks unfinished. Why does it look like that? Why does it sound like that? Meanwhile, K-pop demon hunters out here doing gangbusters. Yeah, where's Starboy? He was cute. It should have been 2D. It would have looked better 2D. Wait, isn't that God of Egypt movie where, like, all the gods are white? Like, why are this is Egypt, why are they white? This doesn't make sense. It's like, please. This is an extremely normal place for the character. If you're from Africa, why are you white? Exactly. Like, of all the places, Egypt, you know, mythological Egypt, that's, yes, everybody's going to be black in mythological Egypt. I'm sure you could find people to fill those roles. But yeah, they bungled the 100th anniversary for Disney. I did like that little like short they did. It was not animated. I did like that little short they did where like all the characters from various like Disney movies and stuff gathered for like a group photo. And it was nice because we got to, you know, see some stuff we don't normally see very, very much. Like some more obscure, not 100% the most obscure things, but like some more obscure things that Disney doesn't usually trot out because they're not as marketable. I like that. I thought that was really cute. I'm like, oh yay, Atlantis, Treasure Planet, those movies you always forget exist. Thank you for remembering they exist. I think they had a few of the anthology short characters. Like, I think they had Bongo the Bear. Not he's from an anthology short. Yeah, those aren't super obscure. When I'm saying, like, super obscure, I'm thinking, like, the wartime propaganda films. That, like, those ones, the ones they don't really want to talk about existing. Because it gets awkward. A few other things, too. Yeah, I could have done a big solar board thing with Sora. He'd be all down for that. Maybe Kingdom Hearts 4, I guess, but all I've seen so far is, like, here's Sora in a realistic world. And I'm like, I don't want that. I want him in a Disney world. Were the Caballeros created for that? Or was that, were they just repurposed for that? Because I think the Caballeros were created, they were already doing, like, kind of, friendship missions or whatever down to South America. Just to kind of like, hey, we're establishing friendly relations between, you know, North and South America, and we're going to do that through Disney cartoons. So I think they were created for that purpose. Because even before Three Caballeros, they had, oh, good grief, what was it? I know they showed up in a couple of the short anthologies. Yeah, a lot of the stuff was, like, we're trying to be friendly with South America. And yeah, a lot of that was for during the war. They wanted, basically, South America to stay on their side. Okay, here's some characters that from wartime propaganda cartoons that I have never seen come up, and it's the wartime version of Chicken Little. Like, not the weird 3D movie that came out in the early 2000s, but there was a wartime propaganda short that was Chicken Little, and, you know, with entirely different designs for, you know, Chicken Little and Loosey Goosey and Ducky Lucky and blah blah blah. And basically the whole thing was, like, it's a parable of, like, don't listen to, you know, rumors and spook yourself or somebody's going to take advantage of you. Yeah, it's really interesting. It probably the reason why nobody talks about it is because it has a sad ending. It ends with the fox eating, like, Chicken Little and all the other chickens. And again, the moral is pretty much like, don't fall victim to rumors and stuff. Keep your head about you, or somebody's going to take advantage of you, and then you're all going to die. Like, it's pretty dark. It's dark for kids, because it ends with them all dying. The fox eats them all. Yeah, the villain's a fox. It's Foxy Loxy. Well, yeah, that's kind of what they were going to do with, Emperor's New Groove back when it was Kingdom of the Sun. Because Kingdom of the Sun went through a ton of revisions. It went through some real development hell, and that was more closely based around, like, Aztec mythos. They should try it again. Yeah, the Ugly Duckling was really cute for Disney. Also, I would totally buy a plushie of, like, the Scrap Yzma song, like, from Wartime Propaganda. I would totally buy a plushie of, like, one of their propaganda cartoons was, go get vaccinated. Vaccination isn't scary, kids. You want to go, it's good to be vaccinated against diseases. Like, they were really pushing that. And so for one of the cartoons they did, they basically were showing, like, hey, getting vaccinated is like arming up your body so that they can fight off invaders. And, like, they had a little cartoon of, like, these little blood guys, like they're little blood men, like little blood cells. Kind of like, cells at work, but they were just like little blobby guys, and, they're running the inside of the body and stuff. I want a little plushie of those. It was like really proto-Osmosis Jones. Like, they looked like little amoebas, little blobby guys. But they looked like extremely huggable. They looked like little red flour sacks, basically. Some flour sack animation going on there. But yeah, it was for a propaganda short of, like, get vaccinated so your little flour sack blood guys can, fight off the disease. I have not heard of the Amoeba Sisters. I did enjoy Cells at Work, though. That was really fun. I should see some of the, like, updated ones. Because don't they have, like, Cells at Work for, like, various different things with the body? At least in the manga. I don't think they do in the anime. It's a useful short for that, I'll tell you what. I mean, it's definitely a wartime short, because their method for showing, vaccination helps you this way by teaching you how to make guns for your body so you can, like, shoot guns at the viruses. Or, like, vaccination enables you to parachute in to the virus and take a machine gun and just blow the virus away. Which, I don't know, maybe more people would be into vaccination if they thought they were giving their cells tiny little machine guns, which it kind of is. Maybe, I don't know, I can't recall ever seeing a short like that. I wouldn't be surprised if Disney did that, but I don't recall a short like that. Hey look, here's Human Garrison. We finally got to him. Huh, I wonder what happened to that short. I don't think it was part of the propaganda ones. I think those stopped around, like, the 40s or something. Which would make sense. I just want a plushie of those little blood guys. With their machine guns. Late 40s, early 50s. Okay. That one has got to be really lost media, though, because I do not know that one at all. I just know at one point when I was little, we taped a bunch of, like, Disney cartoons off of TV because we didn't really have much in the way of, like, videos for me to watch. And we would just watch one of them over and over, watch, those cartoons over and over again. And, not really knowing what they were. Until one point when I was, like, way, way older, and we dug out this old videotape we had gotten when I was, like, 3 or 4 of the cartoons we had, taped off the TV. And one of them was a World War II propaganda short. And it was the one where it's like, pay your taxes to defeat the evil mecha Hitler. And like, now that I was like an adult and had context, I was like, wait a minute. I was watching this at like 4 years old? That was literally the short. It's like, please pay your taxes, otherwise we can't defeat the Hitler mecha. It's with Donald Duck. This is about Donald Duck paying his taxes. Huh, is that kind of in the same vein as kind of like the... Oh, what was it called? We had the books for this when I was little. It's like The Wild World of Disney or something, and it's like, it was mostly about nature or stuff like that. So I can see that going with like science shorts or something. Donald in Math Magic Land! No, you don't understand. I used to watch that tape over and over again when I was a little kid. I loved Donald in Math Magic Land. That's where I learned like half my math. I love that. I love that video. Oh. Bring back Donald in Math Magic Land. It was so good. It's like, here, we're just going to explain a bunch of math concepts to you with Donald Duck. And it was like weirdly advanced math for little kids. Because it's like, here's how you use math for like billiards. Here's how it shows up in like, you know, nature and music and stuff like that. It was like really comprehensive. We're going to explain the golden ratio to 8-year-olds now. With Donald Duck, it was really good. I really liked that. I do like me some classic Tom and Jerry and Looney Tunes. Those are good. But yeah, we had a lot of the old clamshells growing up. At least once we got a little bit older. When we were little kids, we didn't have much. Coyote versus Acme, I'm gonna see that, because I saw The Day the Earth Blew Up and it was really good. I'm gonna see that. N64 Tetris game. Oh shoot, it's almost time for me to stop. Alright, I'm gonna have to stop after I finish drawing Garrison here. Have some human Garrison, hooray! Explain color. Oh, I remember Professor Von Drake. Didn't he also do like some sing-alongs and stuff like that? Oh, I can't remember it all. Yeah, I had a lot of Disney growing up. It was definitely a Disney family. We went to Disneyland quite a few times. I know, I love Donald in Math Magic Land. I wonder what happened to it. I wonder if we still have it somewhere buried in a closet or something. And I love Wile E. Coyote. Also so good. I am excited for Coyote versus Acme. Yeah, I actually like the new Mickey Mouse shorts too, where they're honestly kind of weird and off-putting. I love that. I love the fact that they're like, you know what, stop taking, like, we're gonna take this, you know, wholesome corporate symbol and make him kind of weird and off-putting. That's awesome. Please keep doing that. John Cena? Is he? I wouldn't be... Well, I guess he would have been in it like a long time ago because it was filmed forever ago. They just haven't released it yet. So if he's in it, sure, that could have happened. Let's see, is there anything else I'm missing here? I feel like I got his coat slightly wrong, I don't know. Ugh. Yeah, the most personality Mickey's gotten in years. Okay. I haven't quite finished this page, oh well. We got to page 8, almost halfway through. Woohoo! Okay, but I'm going to have to stop here, because again, I gotta go do stuff. But, thank you guys so much for coming to the stream and chatting with me. I did not like the newest Space Jam. It was not good. But, thank you so much for coming to the stream and chatting with me. I'll try again to see if I can do a midweek stream, art stream. I was going to this week, and stuff has come up, and it's still not resolved. If it's resolved, I'll try and do a midweek art stream again, and I'll be good. But we'll see what happens. Either way, we'll at least do more Mother 3 on Friday. And yes, I must be off to do many, many fun things. I hope it's resolved soon as well. Thank you guys so much for coming to the stream and chatting with me about all the cool things, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. And yes, I will, before I cough myself up, I will see you all next time. Alrighty, I'll see ya later.